What if the ultimate soldiers met the ultimate predator? What if an elite special forces team discovered they weren't hunters, but prey? Predator wasn't just an action movie, it was the collision of Hollywood muscle and alien nightmare that redefined what fear looked like. These are 20 weird facts you didn't know about Predator. Number 1. Jean-Claude Van Damme's disastrous first attempt. Before the iconic creature terrorized audiences, Jean-Claude Van Damme spent 2 miserable days failing to bring the Predator to life.
You can see his eyes through the rubber muscles of the neck, and he's like, I hate this head. I hate it.
The original costume was a disaster, a red insectoid suit that looked ridiculous on camera and made Van Damme resemble a shrimp rather than an alien hunter. The martial artist's athletic kicks and acrobatic moves looked comical instead of threatening when performed in the clunky outfit. Van Damme complained constantly about the heat, visibility, and his inability to showcase his fighting skills. Director John McTiernan realized the creature needed complete redesign, not just different choreography. After 48 hours of filming unusable footage, Van Damme was fired, and the entire Predator concept went back to the drawing board, nearly killing the project before it found its terrifying final form. Number 2. The handshake that launched Bicep Wars. The legendary opening handshake between Arnold Schwarzenegger and Carl Weathers wasn't scripted as the testosterone-fueled arm wrestling match it became. During rehearsals, both actors kept trying to outgrip each other, turning a simple greeting into a legitimate strength competition. Schwarzenegger's biceps bulged, Weathers matched him muscle for muscle, and director McTiernan recognized pure movie gold happening spontaneously. The scene was reshot multiple times as both actors escalated the intensity, veins popping and arms trembling with genuine exertion. It became the perfect metaphor for the entire film.
Had enough? Make it easy on yourself, Dutch.
Elite warriors constantly measuring themselves against each other. Number 3. Stan Winston's taxi ride inspiration. The Predator's final design came from a casual conversation between Stan Winston and James Cameron in the back of a Los Angeles taxi. Winston was struggling with the creature concept when Cameron offhand remarked that he'd always wanted to see something with mandibles. That single word unlocked everything.
This wonderfully soft-hearted, intelligent, poetic.
Winston sketched rough designs on a napkin right there in the cab, creating the distinctive mouth structure that became the Predator's most recognizable feature. The dreadlock-like appendages came later, inspired by wanting something organic yet alien that moved naturally with the creature's head movements. Number 4. The invisible effect revolution. Creating the Predator's cloaking effect required practical ingenuity that set new industry standards for optical effects. The production team dressed a stuntman in a bright red suit because that color could be easily isolated and removed from jungle green backgrounds. The poor performer had to endure suffocating heat while running through dense foliage, wearing reflective material designed to distort light on camera. The footage was then optically processed to create the distinctive heat shimmer effect that made the Predator nearly invisible. Every movement had to be precisely choreographed and filmed multiple times to achieve seamless compositing. Number 5. Jesse Ventura's minigun obsession. Jesse Ventura's handheld minigun, affectionately called Old Painless, became the film's most iconic weapon despite being physically impossible for a human to carry and fire. The actual M134 minigun weighs 85 pounds unloaded, with ammunition adding another 60-plus pounds, making Ventura's casual handling pure Hollywood fiction. The weapon required extensive modifications, hidden support harnesses, and careful camera angles to create the illusion of one-handed operation. Ventura's background as a Navy SEAL gave him authentic military bearing that sold the impossible physics. Number 6. The script that started as Rocky joke. Predator originated from screenwriters joking that after Rocky IV, the only opponent left for Stallone was an alien. The throwaway comment sparked serious discussion. What would happen if an action hero faced something that couldn't be defeated through sheer muscle and determination? Writers Jim and John Thomas developed the concept into a screenplay that deconstructed 1980s action movie masculinity by introducing a villain who made elite soldiers look helpless. The premise appealed to producers precisely because it subverted action genre expectations while delivering the spectacle audiences craved. Number 7, Jungle Warfare Boot Camp. Before filming began, the cast endured legitimate military training from real special forces advisors who treated Hollywood actors like actual recruits.
This is my kind of a day.
Former commandos taught weapon handling, tactical movement, radio communication protocols, and jungle survival techniques. The actors learned to move as a cohesive unit, using authentic hand signals and maintaining tactical awareness during action sequences. Schwarzenegger's previous military background gave him an advantage, but everyone struggled with the physical demands of carrying real equipment through dense jungle terrain. Number 8, the gubernatorial future on set. 2 future state governors, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jesse Ventura, were simultaneously filming Predator while their political destinies remained decades away. Neither man had political ambitions at the time, focused entirely on building action movie careers and outmuscling each other on camera. The competitive atmosphere between cast members mirrored the political campaigns they'd eventually run, with both men demonstrating the charisma and commanding presence that would later win elections. Ventura governed Minnesota from 1999 to 2003, while Schwarzenegger led California from 2003 to 2011, making Predator a bizarre political launching pad disguised as science fiction action. Number 9, Kevin Peter Hall's tragic transformation. Kevin Peter Hall, the 7'2" actor who brought the Predator to life, was a gentle former basketball player who disappeared completely into the monster role.
I am Predator, master of the universe.
Hall endured suffocating heat inside the heavy creature suit, limited vision through the mask, and exhausting physical demands of stalking through jungle terrain. His performance required communicating menace entirely through body language, since his face and voice were hidden beneath latex and special effects. Hall studied predatory animal movements, incorporating feline grace and reptilian stillness that made the alien hunter genuinely unsettling. Number 10, Alan Silvestri's rejected first score. Alan Silvestri composed an entire orchestral score for Predator that was completely thrown out and replaced after director John McTiernan heard it. The original music emphasized traditional action movie heroics, with soaring brass and triumphant themes that worked against the film's horror elements. McTiernan realized the score was telling audiences to root for the heroes instead of maintaining dread and uncertainty about their survival. Silvestri had to start over from scratch, creating the iconic percussion-heavy, minimalist theme that emphasized drums, unconventional rhythms, and tribal-sounding elements. The new score maintained tension without promising victory, perfectly matching the film's subversion of action movie conventions. Number 11, the mud scene's accidental discovery. Arnold Schwarzenegger, covering himself in cold mud to hide from thermal detection, became the film's iconic solution through accidental discovery rather than careful planning. During filming breaks, cast members would cool off in muddy water to escape the oppressive jungle heat. Someone noticed that the mud dried on skin, creating interesting visual textures, sparking conversations about how it might work dramatically. The idea evolved into the film's central breakthrough moment when Dutch realizes he can mask his body heat from the Predator's vision. Number 12, Bill Duke's method madness. Bill Duke's intense performance as Mac genuinely unsettled his co-stars, who weren't always certain where the acting ended and real intensity began. Duke stayed partially in character between takes, maintaining Mac's paranoid edge and thousand-yard stare that made everyone uncomfortable. His method approach included spending time alone in the jungle, refusing casual conversation with cast members, and cultivating genuine psychological isolation that fed his performance. When Mac's friend Blaine dies, and Mac spirals into obsessive revenge, Duke's authentic emotional breakdown required minimal direction because he'd already descended into that mental space. Number 13, Mexican Jungle Nightmare. Filming in Palenque, Mexico subjected the cast and crew to extreme conditions that tested everyone's physical and mental limits beyond normal movie productions. Temperatures regularly exceeded 100 degrees with humidity, making it feel even hotter inside heavy combat gear and equipment. Dangerous wildlife, including venomous snakes, spiders, and insects, constantly threatened cast and crew members working in dense jungle terrain. Several people contracted tropical diseases despite preventative measures, requiring emergency medical evacuation from remote locations. The jungle itself fought against production, with equipment failures from moisture, lenses fogging constantly, and electrical systems shorting out from humidity. Number 14, The Missing First Act. Test audiences initially found Predator confusing because studio cuts had removed crucial setup establishing the team's mission and capabilities before the alien arrives. Early versions included more character development, mission briefing details, and team dynamics that helped audiences understand who these people were before they started dying. Executives worried about pacing and demanded cuts that inadvertently removed context. Viewers needed to emotionally invest in the characters. Some of the missing material was restored for later releases, but theatrical audiences experienced a more abrupt introduction to the story. Number 15, Schwarzenegger's Stunt That Went Wrong. Arnold Schwarzenegger performed his own helicopter jump stunt, despite safety coordinators warning about the genuine danger involved in the sequence. The jump required precise timing and positioning to avoid rotor blades while falling from significant height into jungle canopy below. During one take, Schwarzenegger misjudged his leap and came dangerously close to the helicopter's landing skids, nearly sustaining serious injury or worse. The close call was captured on camera and visible in the final film's tense moments before Dutch disappears into the trees. Schwarzenegger's insistence on performing dangerous stunts personally became legendary, but this particular moment represented genuine life-threatening risk rather than carefully controlled Hollywood action. Number 16, the thermal vision innovation. Creating the Predator's distinctive point-of-view thermal imaging required innovative camera techniques that predated digital technology by years. The production team used actual thermographic cameras combined with optical effects and careful color grading to achieve the alien perspective. Each thermal POV shot required meticulous planning about actor placement, background heat sources, and color temperature variations that would read properly on film. The effects team experimented with different color palettes before settling on the red, orange, yellow scheme that became iconic. They had to account for equatorial jungle heat where everything registered warm, making it difficult to create the contrast between living targets and environment. Number 17, Carl Weathers' improvised complexity. Carl Weathers brought unexpected depth to Dylan, transforming what could have been a one-dimensional CIA operative into the film's most morally complex character. Weathers improvised dialogue and character beats that revealed Dylan's conflicted loyalty between old friendship and government mission objectives. His scenes with Schwarzenegger crackle with genuine tension from their shared history and current betrayal, adding emotional weight to the action spectacle. Weathers insisted on moments showing Dylan's growing realization that he'd sent friends into an impossible situation for political purposes. The character's arc from confident manipulator to desperate survivor struggling with guilt gave the film unexpected dramatic resonance. Number 18, box office expectations versus reality. Summer 1987 presented a crowded action landscape with Beverly Hills Cop 2, Lethal Weapon, and RoboCop all competing for audience attention. Studio executives worried that Predator's science fiction elements would alienate action movie audiences while its military violence would turn off sci-fi fans. The film opened to modest but solid numbers, gradually building through word of mouth rather than exploding immediately. It earned $98 million worldwide against its $15 million budget, considered successful but not blockbuster territory. The real financial impact came through home video and cable television, where Predator found its massive cult audience. Number 19, the sequel rights nightmare. Creating Predator 2 required navigating complex legal battles between multiple studios, producers, and rights holders that delayed the sequel for years. The original contracts hadn't anticipated franchise potential, creating confusion about who controlled what elements of the Predator mythology. Arnold Schwarzenegger's participation was assumed, but never contractually guaranteed, giving him leverage to demand enormous fees or simply refuse involvement. Studio executives debated whether the Predator concept could work without Schwarzenegger's star power anchoring the story. Legal teams spent years untangling rights issues before production could begin, forcing creative teams to develop stories without knowing if key elements could be used. Number 20, the franchise that almost ended. Studio executives nearly killed the Predator franchise after the first film, unconvinced that sci-fi action hybrids had lasting commercial potential beyond single entries. The concept seemed too specific to jungle warfare settings to translate into other environments or time periods successfully. Writers pitched numerous sequel concepts that were rejected as too similar or too different from the original's formula. Studio leadership worried that removing Schwarzenegger and the jungle setting would eliminate everything audiences loved about the first film. Years passed with the Predator character sitting dormant despite fan demand for continuation. The eventual decision to set Predator 2 in urban Los Angeles represented a creative gamble that studios initially resisted. Predator traveled from Jean-Claude Van Damme disaster to Arnold Schwarzenegger legend through one of Hollywood's most punishing jungle shoots. If you could face any movie monster in single combat, which would you choose? Hit that subscribe button and tell us what legendary tale we should uncover next.